You wake up to sirens blaring. No cell signal. You rush to turn on the television. You see stores being looted, people running. It's chaos outside. This is the moment you've been prepping for. And you think, this is it. Time to grab my bug out bag, hit the road, and survive. But here's the reality that you're not being told. 99% of all people who have to bug out, they're not going to make it. They're not going to survive, and I'm going to tell you why. We fantasize about being lone survivals, out in the wild. But this is not the movies, and bugging out for most people, it's a fatal mistake. So today I'm going to be breaking down why bugging out is generally never the solution. We're going to dive into the myth behind it, the risks of it, and hopefully some smarter alternatives that we can do instead of bugging out. Guys, if you're enjoying this, please hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Will. This is The Outdoorsman, and let's get right into this video. Movies and TV shows make bugging out look romantic, like it's some kind of adventure. You're in the woods, you've got all your gear, you're maybe hunting your next meal. Everything is just perfect, right? Think about all those shows that, we've seen. Survivor Man, The Walking Dead, my wife's favorite show, but that I despise, Alone. Characters out in the wilderness with just their wits and, whatever gear that they have brought with them. It's dramatic. It's intense. And it really does look like a great way to survive some sort of collapse. But here's the issue. In reality, it is just not that simple. Now, let's break it down. In theory, bugging out, it sounds great, but in practice, it's dangerous. Just because you've got a bag of gear doesn't mean by any means that you're going to survive. Now, think about it like this. Many people who try to survive in the wild, even with the best gear, are completely unprepared. Now, take a look at the story of Chris McCandless. I think that was his name, or McCandle. Anyway, he was pretty much made famous by the book and that small movie, Into the Wild. Now, Chris, he was just a young guy who had really romanticized the idea of living off the land in the Alaskan wilderness, and he ended up starving to death in an old bus. Despite having some of the survival gear, he lacked those essential things, that essential knowledge to thrive in such a harsh environment. The isolation, the lack of food, the inability to find safe drinking water. All of those things led to him being, dead. So what does this stuff tell us? Well, what it tells us is that nature is ruthless. Nature doesn't give a shit if we live or if we die, and it certainly doesn't care if we have seen every single, reality survival show or survival YouTube page. The truth is, survival is much more than gear. It's about experience. It's about skills. Now let's talk about that for just a second. The bug out bag. Yeah, I've even made videos on bug out bags. Sure, it's great to have all the essentials packed up, but truth be told, how many of us actually remember what's in that bug out bag and exactly how to use everything that's in it, especially with, technology changing from day to day. Most of the stuff in our old bug out bags is probably obsolete. A backpack full of gadgets and useless items, well, that's weight, and ounces equal pounds. And I can tell you right now, if you have a wicked heavy backpack and you have to, run off into the forest, you're fucked. Sorry, I got to wear my sunglasses, guys. It's so bright out here in the snow. But take something like a fire starter, right? Looks super cool. You see people doing it on TV, but do you know how to start a fire in the rain? I bet most of you don't. My mother was fantastic at being able to start fires with soaking wet wood. A good knife, for instance. I'm getting all smoky here, guys. Smoky. How many survivalists, how many of you out there actually know how to track animals for food? It's taken me decades to learn how to do that. I just don't see, some type of a city person, being able to figure that out, if they have to bug out into the woods. How about create an effective shelter with limited gears or material? Make clean drinking water without boiling it on a campfire. Gear is important, but it's the experience, it's the knowledge behind it that makes all of the difference. Just simply realizing the fact that no matter where you move your camera and no matter where you sit, the smoke is going to be constantly blowing in your face. So here's a reality check for you. 90% of the time, it's the lack of shelter, food, and water that gets people. Take, for example, the many cases of wilderness rescues, where the primary issue is people not knowing how to find safe drinking water, or, more important, protect themselves from the elements. I mean, it's generally hypothermia, that gets all these people. That's what kills them. Now, when society breaks down, I mean, the absolute biggest threat is other people. I kind of mention this almost in every single one of my videos. And the reason that I mention it is I'm just trying to get the point across to everybody out there that people are fucking dangerous. They're going to come for what you have. Your food, your water, your women, your supplies, all of that stuff. And when they show up, you better be ready. If you think that it's safe at your bug out location, in the woods, you think it's really remote, you really need to think again, because it's not, especially with today's modern technology. I mean, I can pop a drone up, get a 2-hour flight time from some of the, the more expensive drones, and I can hover that son of a bitch above your compound miles away from where I am. Most people think that they're just gonna grab their rifle or their shotgun and defend their home. You're not. You're not gonna. Owning a weapon, a firearm or whatever is one thing, but most people don't know how to use it. They don't even train with their firearms. You gotta get experience. You gotta get training with these weapons. But I guess that there's another side to that. I mean, lone survivors, they don't make it. A lot of people think, I mean, I've thought it from time to time too, that, you can survive alone, but, you can't. You need more people in your group. I mean, having good, skilled people in your group is, probably the only way that you're going to survive. Maybe you don't know how to use a weapon that well. Maybe you don't know how to, defend your perimeter. Well, that's where you want somebody like me, in your group. Having really good people who can get shelters up really fast, who can get fires going regardless of weather. Importantly, somebody who's really good at handling, big medical emergencies like gunshots. I mean, most of us can handle sprains and cuts and abrasions, but good medically trained people who can handle serious trauma. You just need to have a network, folks. I know a lot of you people out there do. I do as well. A group of people who can watch your back and fill in those, skill set gaps. I mean, if you have to bug out, it's no longer about surviving, right? You want to be able to thrive in whatever environment that you're put in. Now, here's something that most people really do overlook, and that's land navigation. If you have to bug out, how are you going to find your way? How are you going to get to that bug out location if you don't know how to read a map and use a compass? How are you going to do that without that nice GPS that we all have in our pockets right now? Because, spoiler alert, if the grid goes down or anything like that, you're not going to be able to use those map apps on your cell phone. We really do, as society, myself included, rely too much on our phone. I mean, I'm filming this video talking to you guys on a smartphone. A lot of people are going to be lost and not know where to go, and that's going to create log jams of people. And every zombie or disaster movie you've ever watched, those big log jams of people, that's when all hell breaks loose. All right, now this is probably something that I don't think a lot of YouTubers talk about. Let's talk about the rare times where, bugging out is actually going to be necessary. In situations like wildfires, floods, big, massive civil unrest, I mean, staying in place could put you in more danger than moving on. But running off without a plan, that's not going to get you anywhere good. First thing is you need a solid plan. You need to know where you're headed, whether it's a secondary location or a prearranged spot. Having a destination is crucial. I have videos on this channel about all of this. That's why I do this channel, ladies and gentlemen, so that there's a big, long list of videos that you can watch. Maybe we talk about one thing in one video, and then you want to learn about that topic or something like that, you can head over to my playlists, and you can learn about those other topics. Now, if you think there's only one way to get to your bug out location, I mean, you really need to think again. I mean, roadblocks, traffic, other issues can seriously derail your main route. Always have a backup plan ready. Always have a backup way to get to your bug out location if you have to. You also are going to need a way to stay connected. I mean, you're probably going to be with other people, but you might have another group, that isn't with you, or maybe some family that you don't have with you. I mean, you're going to need to ensure that you're letting them know, that you're giving them updates about your changes and plans. So emergency radios, simple Walmart walkie-talkies, CB radios, all that stuff. These are vital tools. I mean, just remember, your phone's probably not going to be working, and these radios can save your life. And don't assume that everyone knows how to use these radios. You need to plan ahead. I mean, I actually have little, check boxes and things in my bags, that are attached to the radios so that other people, if they pick up that radio, the instructions are pretty much just taped right to the radio. So if bugging out isn't the answer, then what is? I mean, it's staying home. It's bugging in. You've prepared for every possible emergency. I know most of you out there have probably 14 cases of beans, peas, and MREs ready to go. You want to be in control of your environment, and we can really only do that at home. That's the key. You can't rely on luck. You need to prepare yourself. You need to prepare your family and your home for, whatever, may come. Stockpile essentials, not just food. Stockpile ammunition, stockpile weapons.
Guns. Lots of guns.
Stockpile books. Download these videos. Put them on a hard drive. Fortify your home to, withstand whatever comes. That's where the real work begins. Building your home into a family safe zone. Because when the shit hits the fan, people who have planned for it, people who stay put, they're the ones who are going to survive. Running into the unknown without a plan, it is a death sentence. But when you've prepared your space, your home, and you have everything that you need to survive, you're in the best position possible for pretty much whatever comes next. And here's one more thing that I have not heard another YouTuber in this, genre of prepared citizens and whatnot talk about. And trust me, I watch their videos, but I don't think I've really heard any of them talk about mental readiness. Again, you can have all the gear in the world, but if you are not mentally prepared for what's coming, you're fucked. You need to be in a good headspace. You need to have your mind right. You need your brain to be programmed to go into autopilot mode to help you adapt, and so that you're not kind of like scrambling around like a chicken with your head cut off. Now, bugging out, well, that's not even remotely a survival plan. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a last resort, and we don't want to have to bug out if we don't have to. And ladies and gentlemen, I would love to know what your plans are. Don't be specific, because obviously it's the internet and it's YouTube. But if you guys had to bug out in 10 minutes, do you have all your stuff ready to go? Is it all in boxes? Is it all labeled? How fast would you be able to get that into your vehicle or onto some type of device to get you out of there and get you to your so-called bug out location? Let me know down in the comments. I'm very curious as to how a lot of you people out there would handle this type of a situation. Now, it's getting cold out. I had to put my jacket on. My fire is dying. I'm going to pack this up and head back to my actual house where it can be nice and warm. So that is all I have for you guys right now. Okay, I got one more thing for you. Ladies and gentlemen, stop focusing on doom and gloom. We live in the greatest country in the world. Take some time to go out and grab some drinks with some friends. Go out to that nice restaurant that you want to go out to. We're only here for a short time, so might as well be a good time.